What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive into our first news. Arman has stirred up attention by calling out Ilia for portraying what he believes is a fake lifestyle on social media. Recently, Ilia shared a photo where he posed in front of a private jet while holding both the UFC and BMF titles. The picture went viral, with fans buzzing about his seemingly glamorous lifestyle, but Arman isn't buying it. According to Arman, Ilia is trying too hard to make it look like he's insanely rich when in reality things may be very different. He pointed out that Ilia most likely flies on regular planes just like anyone else, and doesn't actually have the kind of money needed to constantly travel on private jets between America, Europe, or even Georgia. Arman explained that the image Ilia tries to project doesn't quite match up with the earnings he's making as a fighter. Arman went further into detail, saying that even if Ilia managed to make $2 to $3 million, it would still not be enough to sustain such a lavish habit. A single round trip on a private jet can cost anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000. That kind of expense would eat up a huge portion of what Ilia has earned, making it highly unrealistic for him to be consistently flying private. The comments add fuel to the ongoing rivalry between the two fighters. Arman's blunt take shows he isn't impressed with Ilia's social media persona and believes that behind the flashy posts, reality tells a very different story. While Ilia continues to flex his lifestyle to fans, Arman is reminding everyone of the steep financial realities that come with trying to live like the super rich. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We are constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That is why we truly appreciate it. If you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on MMA Pulse News. Moving on to another news, Tom Aspinall has given his thoughts on the upcoming heavyweight clash between Alexander Volkov and Jailton Almeida. Before he can even think about facing the winner, Aspinall has his own massive test in front of him, as he is scheduled to defend his heavyweight title against Cyril Gane at UFC 321 on October 25th. It's a huge night for the heavyweight division, because on the very same card Volkov is set to take on Almeida in what many believe could determine the next title challenger. During a recent conversation with Bloody Elbow, Aspinall was asked whether he believes that the Volkov vs Almeida fight will produce the #1 contender. His response was very clear. He said that's exactly how he sees it, and to him it feels pretty obvious. Aspinall explained that he personally thought Volkov should have won the fight against Gane when they clashed last December. That bout ended in a split decision loss for Volkov, but Aspinall and many others felt he did enough to get his hand raised. Aspinall praised Volkov's current form, saying the Russian is looking strong and consistent. While he admitted Almeida is clearly a talented fighter, Aspinall also pointed out that he hasn't seen enough of Almeida's overall game to truly know how good he is. Based on what he has observed, Aspinall leaned toward favoring Volkov in that matchup. He believes Volkov's size, striking, and recent performances put him in a great position heading into the fight. This prediction sparks a couple of interesting discussions. First, Aspinall isn't alone in thinking Volkov was robbed in his fight with Gane. Several analysts and fans voiced the same opinion after that split decision. Second, the implications of the Volkov vs Almeida fight are massive. The winner will almost certainly be at the top of the list for the next title shot, making this one of the most important heavyweight fights of the year. However, there's also the looming shadow of Jon Jones. While Aspinall remains focused on Gane, many people in the MMA world are still wondering if the UFC might eventually book Aspinall against Jones. The possibility of that fight happening, especially with rumors of it being attached to a massive card at the White House, has generated endless speculation. Still, Dana White has been firm in shutting those rumors down, saying the chances of it happening are basically zero. Even with that, the heavyweight division is buzzing. If Aspinall gets through Gane and Volkov beats Almeida, it seems inevitable that those two will collide in a huge showdown for the title. On the other hand, if Almeida pulls off the upset, the UFC will have a new contender who could shake things up completely. Either way, October 25th is shaping up to be a defining night, with Aspinall at the center of it all, and the future of the heavyweight division hanging in the balance. Moving on to another news, Arman has finally opened up about what could be next for him inside the UFC octagon. It has been well over a year since he last stepped into the cage, and fans have been waiting to see who his next opponent will be. Ever since he withdrew from his scheduled fight with Islam back in January at the very last minute, speculation has been non-stop. Names have been thrown around, and one man who has been aggressively pushing for that fight is Dan Hooker. Hooker has been calling out Arman, and recently Arman himself confirmed that the UFC is indeed planning to set up that matchup. Speaking with Sport24, Arman revealed that the promotion is targeting a showdown with Hooker, and he made it clear that he wants to be part of the big November 22nd card in Qatar. According to him, the UFC told him the fight is in the works, but nothing has been signed or made official yet. Arman said, "I'm ready, just tell me when." That confidence shows he's prepared for whoever they put in front of him. However, Arman also admitted that his real interest lies elsewhere. He would actually prefer to fight someone like Justin Gaethje or Paddy Pimblett, but from what it looks like, the UFC is not heading in that direction right now. At a recent press conference for the Absolute Championship of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Arman was asked an interesting question. If he had to go into a street fight against 10 men, which 3 fighters would he want by his side? His answer showed exactly where his respect lies in the sport. He said he would definitely take Khamzat first, then Khabib, and finally Islam. That's the kind of squad he trusts when it comes to pure fighting ability and dominance. Even though Arman hasn't fought inside the UFC cage since April of 2024, when he defeated Charles Oliveira, he hasn't been inactive. He has been sharpening his skills in the gym and testing himself in grappling competitions. At the ACBJ 18 event in Moscow, he took on former UFC veteran Benson Henderson and ended up choking him out. That win turned heads and reminded everyone just how dangerous Arman can be, even outside the octagon. Earlier this year, he also submitted Patrick E. Pitbull in another grappling showdown and secured a decision win over Merab Dvalishvili. All of this shows that while fans have been waiting for his return, Arman has been busy staying sharp, evolving, and keeping himself ready for when the UFC calls. Arman's next step seems clear. While his dream matchups might be against the likes of Gaethje or Pimblett, the UFC appears set on booking him against Hooker. If that fight happens on the Qatar card in November, fans are in for a thrilling battle. Hooker has been vocal, hungry, and determined to get back into the spotlight, while Arman is eager to remind everyone why he's considered one of the top talents in the lightweight division. Whether it's Hooker, Gaethje, or anyone else, Arman is ready, and the fight world is watching closely to see how his long-awaited return unfolds. Moving on to another news, Darren Till has been making headlines after hinting at the possibility of a boxing match with Andrew Tate. Fresh off his knockout victory over Luke Rockhold, Till revealed that discussions had already taken place regarding a potential showdown with the controversial internet figure. However, during a recent appearance on Demetrius Johnson's YouTube channel, Till admitted that while the talks were real, he doesn't believe the fight will ever materialize. Till gave Tate credit for what he accomplished in kickboxing, acknowledging that although he didn't reach the absolute highest level of the sport, he still put together a respectable career. Till said that Tate could definitely fight, noting his size and power. According to him, Tate is a heavyweight who carries real knockout ability, and if he ever decided to fully commit to a boxing match, he would likely do just fine. But Till also made it clear that money would be the main factor in whether such a fight could happen. Without the right financial incentive, he doesn't see himself stepping into the ring with Tate. He also shared his perspective on Tate's attitude toward the fight. Till suggested that Tate might not want to take the risk of losing because it could damage the image he has built as the so-called top G. In Till's view, Tate's ego and persona are central to his brand, and fighting someone like him, who admits he can be unpredictable and unhinged, could put that carefully crafted image at risk. Till hinted that Tate would rather avoid a matchup that could potentially strip away the aura he has worked hard to maintain. Despite doubting the fight will happen, Till welcomed the back-and-forth exchanges. He enjoys the buzz and finds the idea entertaining, but he remains realistic about the chances. Till even mentioned that Tate trained alongside Liam Harrison, a respected Muay Thai legend, which gave him solid credentials in the striking game. He also acknowledged that with all the money Tate has, he could easily surround himself with top coaches, build the perfect training camp, and prepare properly for boxing if he ever decided to go down that path. Till wrapped up by saying that while he respects Tate's background and his ability to fight, he doesn't expect the matchup to become reality. Still, the possibility of such a clash continues to stir conversation, keeping fans intrigued about whether the outspoken internet star will ever actually step into a ring with a proven fighter like Till. Moving on to another news, the ongoing back and forth between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev has taken another interesting turn, and Bisping has now given his reaction to it. Pereira recently stated that if he wins their upcoming rematch at UFC 320, he doesn't see a trilogy fight happening. In his eyes, the second bout will be decisive enough to close the chapter between them. That statement stirred plenty of conversation, and Bisping, always ready to analyze, pointed out that there are two sides to this story, and it may not be as simple as Pereira suggests. Pereira's grappling coach, Glover Teixeira, is already hyping the rematch to another level. He believes it's gonna be brutal, with a first-round explosion almost guaranteed. Teixeira explained that Pereira isn't coming in angry or reckless, but instead locked in with the same aggressive and relentless mindset that makes him dangerous. The plan is to push the pace from start to finish, something that Pereira has been drilling over and over in camp. Teixeira, who once held a UFC championship himself, admitted he used to be nervous and worried before stepping into the cage. But when it comes to Pereira, there's no hesitation, no mental cracks, only confidence and sharp focus. With just a few weeks left until fight night, the last phase of camp is all about fine-tuning timing and making sure Pereira is ready to go full throttle for 5 rounds if necessary. As for Bisping's breakdown, he reminded fans that the rematch is less than 3 weeks away, and Pereira's comments don't fully make sense when you consider the history. Ankalaev fought to a controversial draw with Pereira in their first meeting, and many argued that Ankalaev had actually done enough to win. So, if Pereira wins the second fight, logically, a third match would be the natural move to settle things once and for all. Bisping stressed that trilogies are what the sport is built on, especially when the rivalry is this close. However, he admitted there's some truth to Pereira's words. If Pereira goes out there and absolutely dominates Ankalaev, blowing him out of the water from the very first bell, the narrative could shift. In that case, Pereira could simply say he had a bad night the first time around, but look what he did in the rematch. If he's aggressive, sharp, and destroys Ankalaev in convincing fashion, then maybe a trilogy wouldn't make sense. That kind of decisive win would silence doubts, and the storyline of a rubber match could fade quickly. But Bisping also made it clear that if the fight is competitive, if it goes the distance and is close on the scorecards, then there's absolutely no way around it. A third fight would have to happen, because only then would the rivalry truly be settled. With Pereira's mindset, Teixeira's confidence, and Ankalaev's motivation to prove himself, the rematch at UFC 320 is shaping up to be a war. Whether it ends the saga or sets up a blockbuster trilogy depends entirely on how things play out inside the octagon. Moving on to another news, Conor is once again making headlines as he looks ahead to his highly anticipated return to the octagon. In a recent interview with Fox News, Conor confirmed that his comeback fight will be against Michael Chandler. He said it with full confidence and excitement, making it clear that he is all in for this matchup. Conor pointed out that the fight is planned to be a part of the historic UFC White House card, something that has never been done before. When asked if he wanted to be involved, Conor didn't hesitate for a second. He simply said, "I'm on it. This is me. Michael Chandler and myself have already gone back and forth on The Ultimate Fighter. He's a tough guy, a real competitor, and the Mac is excited to get back for sure." This announcement quickly set the MMA community on fire, with fans thrilled to finally get confirmation of a fight they've been waiting for. The build-up between Conor and Chandler has been growing for over a year, and now it looks like it's finally happening on the biggest stage imaginable, right in front of the White House. As talk of the UFC White House event continued, Dana also revealed some stunning details. He shared renderings of what the setup will look like, and they are nothing short of incredible. The octagon will be placed directly in front of the White House, with a massive arch and a full lighting grid that perfectly frames the historic backdrop. Dana explained his vision, saying that from one angle you'll see the White House, and when the camera pans around, the Washington Monument will be visible on the other side. The atmosphere will be unlike anything seen in combat sports history. Dana went on to say that this event isn't just about fight night itself, but a full-scale takeover of Washington DC. There will be weigh-ins staged in the city, fan events at the Lincoln Memorial, and UFC's Expo throughout the week. The entire week will transform into a celebration of mixed martial arts, with fans from around the world gathering in the heart of the US Capitol to witness history. Dana stressed that this event is going to be bigger than anything the UFC has ever attempted, combining sports, entertainment, and culture in one unforgettable experience. Conor's presence at such a monumental card makes perfect sense. He remains the sport's biggest star, and his matchup with Chandler guarantees fireworks. Both fighters are known for their intensity, and after their time together on The Ultimate Fighter, the storyline between them has only grown stronger. This fight isn't just another return for Conor, it's a massive statement, one that places him right back in the spotlight on the grandest stage possible. All eyes are now locked on Washington, D.C. as plans for this historic card continue to unfold. Fans can already feel the buzz, and the excitement is only going to grow stronger as fight week approaches. This is not just another UFC event, this is a game changer, a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle, where the octagon meets history in front of the White House. Moving on to another news, one of Merab's coaches has made a bold statement, saying he truly believes Merab could become this generation's version of GSP. While Merab still has a long road ahead of him before he can match the legendary numbers that GSP put together during his career, including his incredible title defense streak, the confidence from his team shows just how highly they rate the reigning bantamweight champion. Since winning the bantamweight title last September by defeating Sean O'Malley, Merab has gone on to defend his belt twice. In January, he earned earned a hard-fought decision win over Umar Nurmagomedov, showing once again that his relentless pace and grappling-heavy style could break even the most promising contenders. Then in June, he silenced critics who doubted his finishing ability by submitting O'Malley in their rematch, proving not only his dominance but also his constant evolution as a champion. Recently, Merab's coach John Wood spoke with Inside Fighting about the progress he's witnessed firsthand. Wood praised Merab's ability to grow at an astonishing pace, saying that every single camp, every single week, he seems to improve dramatically. He admitted it blows him away, to the point where he doesn't even know where the ceiling lies for Merab's potential. According to Wood, the focus is not on moving up in weight or chasing super fights, but rather on defending the title against whoever comes next, building an unshakable legacy, and maybe even surpassing the greatness of past champions. He firmly believes Merab has the tools, the mindset and the consistency to be considered this generation's GSP. The respect Merab has earned is clear, with many already calling him the greatest bantamweight of all time. However, when discussing title defenses, context is important. Georges St-Pierre defended his belt 9 times, one shy of Anderson Silva, who sits at 10. Demetrius Johnson still holds the record at 11, which highlights just how difficult such dominance can be. But Merab's trajectory is pointing in the right direction, and he shows no signs of slowing down. Looking ahead, Merab is scheduled to face Cory Sandhagen at UFC 320 on October 4th, another dangerous test that will further define his reign. His teammate Danny Danenko recently shared his prediction, expressing full confidence that Merab will not just win but finish Sandhagen. Danenko dismissed the narrative that Merab is only capable of grinding out decision wins, saying that this time fans will see another finish. He acknowledged Sandhagen's unorthodox striking and solid grappling, but emphasized that Merab is simply built differently. Mentally, he is on another level. Danenko pointed out that it's nearly impossible to break Merab because his toughness, both physically and mentally, sets him apart from everyone else. As Merab continues his run, the comparisons to GSP may grow louder. If he keeps racking up wins and defending his title against the very best, he could cement himself as not only the greatest bantamweight ever, but also as one of the sport's all-time greats. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.